Hello and welcome to Mornings with Ken Rosato. It is Thursday, August 20th, 2026, and we'll take your calls at 888-658-0234 to kick things off. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the forecast near you.
Weather is brought to you by Viking Pest Control. Visit vikingpest.com.
All right, Mike. So we got some mixed cloud, sun this morning, and then some rain and lots of it.
Yeah, another round of rain. It'll likely be brief, though, not anticipating this long duration storm, but still intense with some downpours likely later on this evening during the evening rush. Probably the worst of it happening down the shore, specifically south of 195. We'll show you that on the Futurecast in just a sec, but we start off pretty clear this morning. Beautiful and sunny, just the way we like it. Doesn't last, though. You can see the rain moving in from the west. That kind of puts a damper on the afternoon plans. Want to talk about all of that extreme heat remaining down across the Gulf Coast. Florida catches a little bit of a break, or at least starts to, with more of a cooler breeze coming in from the south, but even into tomorrow. There along the Gulf states, Louisiana, back through Texas, that heat continues as not only that high pressure over the Bahamas is allowing for that big heat to remain, but now there's this intensifying one that's over the Rockies that's sending all of that heat down into Texas. So incredible heat continues there. It just hasn't really let up over the last several days. Back to our weather, you see those showers and storms riding along the front. They arrive in New Jersey later on this afternoon and give us the wet weather right through this evening, probably into tonight. Tomorrow clears out beautifully, lots of sunshine throughout the day, maybe some clouds developing by the afternoon along the south, and then by Saturday it's right back to the rain, especially early on in the morning into the afternoon before some clearing takes over on Sunday. So a little bit of a difference day by day. Down toward the Gulf, have a little bit of wet weather, but still nothing going on in the tropics. It is quiet in the Atlantic Basin, other than you see a little bit of a weak disturbance there over the Gulf. It remains so, and probably for the next week, we likely won't see any development with all of that Saharan dust continuing to plume there off of the coast of Africa. And this is what it is. You have the Saharan desert here over the northern parts of Africa, allowing for all of that dust to blow into the mid layers of the atmosphere, and that in turn prevents that cooling with height that you need to allow for thunderstorm development, hence no hurricanes. So the ingredients just aren't there for any tropical activity yet, even as the peak of hurricane season is only 2 weeks away. Ken?
Wow. And it's so funny how people think the hottest point of summer is hurricane peak, June,
No,
July. It's not. It's actually the
September.
end of summer, beginning
Yeah.
fall, right? Because the ocean, you were saying, lags behind in getting that temperature up, and that's where the engine is, right?
Exactly. That heat engine need a lot of heat in order for those storms to form.
Unbelievable, but believable at the same time. Well, we appreciate you. Thank you very much, Mike. All right, sir. It is 69 degrees right now, northern New Jersey, 7 degrees in Trenton, or as they say there locally, Trenton. Trenton, you don't pronounce a T, it's swallowed. Trenton, when I say that to Trentonians, they say, we don't say that. I say, all right, say a sentence with Trenton in it. Uh, I had to go to the DMV in Trenton. Ah, there you go. They pronounce it Trenton, just saying. Right now we have 69 degrees in Los Angeles, 70 degrees in San Diego. And in terms of traffic, we have a lot of it popping up. Let's take a look, shall we, right now. We have an overturned vehicle, Garden State Parkway, and this is located south of exit 136, Stiles Street in Clark Township. And that is causing 2 right lanes and both shoulders to be blocked. There's a traffic signal down Route 73, both directions in Hilton Road or on Hilton Road in Pennsauken. All lanes closed northbound. And we have just the 2 of 3 lanes closed southbound. There is a disabled tractor trailer, New Jersey Turnpike Western Spur, and that's located by interchange 15W by I-280 in Newark. All lanes are open, vehicles on the shoulder. Go back to the Garden State Parkway. We have a disabled on the northbound side, north of Colonia Service Area, Woodbridge, with 1 lane currently blocked. Let's just take care of something on the computer here. All right, there we go. And then we have the Hudson River crossings. Let's go over to Route 139, making your way into the Holland Tunnel from the Turnpike. Look at this, already a mess. The lanes you see stopped, those are going into the left tube as opposed to the lanes that are moving, which are local roads. So that is going to cost you about 25 to 30 minutes in. Lincoln Tunnel this morning is a little better than yesterday. Yesterday was an absolute mess with 60 to 90-minute delays. Today, it's only about 20 minutes in. That's a great deal. And that beautiful sunrise. Although as the sun hits people's eyes, you'll see things start to slow down a little bit. We go over to the GWB. Upper and lower levels, not too bad at all right now. Only reporting 15 minutes in. It's probably even less than that when you take a look at the traffic. It's wide open. This is a wider shot than we would normally get. So this is about 2.5 miles away from the bridge, but you get an idea of the flow of traffic. In Los Angeles, all we have right now is a collision at South Butler and Murr in South LA, a collision in West LA on Normandy Ave, and a collision in Santa Fe Springs on 91 at East Clark. 4 Americans died after a helicopter crashed in northern Kenya. That was according to officials yesterday. The aircraft carried 7 people when it crashed near Mount Ololokwe in Samburu County. Kenya's Civil Aviation Authority said the crash occurred about 9:15 in the morning local time. The U.S. Embassy is assisting local authorities and providing consular support. Lady Lori Kenya said the helicopter operated a charter flight from Suyan Conservancy. Difficult terrain and a fire complicated search and rescue. Jose Suarez, who is a longtime NBC Universal executive. I've never met Jose. I'm told I may have met him at a gathering. He is friends with many of the people that we all know in the industry. And Jose was on that flight. Longtime executive at NBC Universal. And for all my friends who know Jose, our condolences, and may Jose's soul rest in peace. We are very sorry for his loss. He was among those killed in that helicopter crash. It is 7 minutes after the hour now, and former Fauci advisor David Morenz pleaded guilty to conspiring to conceal government records. The records involved COVID-19 research grants and public records requests. Morenz previously worked as a senior official at the National Institute of Allergy. Prosecutors accused him of using personal email to avoid Freedom of Information requests. The alleged scheme began after public records requests emerged during the pandemic. Morenz faces up to 5 years in prison following his guilty plea. His sentencing scheduled November 12th in federal court. President Trump delayed planned 50% tariffs on Canadian goods for 3 days. Trump said that the pause followed progress toward a potential trade agreement. The tariffs were scheduled to take effect shortly after the announcement. U.S. and Canadian negotiators continued discussions over trade and economic issues yesterday. Trump said that a potential agreement could include concessions involving agriculture and manufacturing. Canada's Prime Minister, Mark Carney, said substantial progress had been made and businesses welcomed the delay, while warning broader tariffs could increase costs and disrupt supply chains. Moderna shares surged after announcing encouraging results from an experimental melanoma vaccine trial. The vaccine was developed with pharmaceutical partner Merck for high-risk melanoma patients. Researchers tested the personalized vaccine alongside Merck's Keytruda immunotherapy treatment, which is a very good treatment itself. And the combination reduced the risk of melanoma returning or spreading in patients. That is a big deal. Researchers described the results as a potential landmark development in cancer treatment. The companies plan to present their unpublished findings to regulators soon, so it could be taken a look at in fine detail to make sure there aren't other side effects. Moderna's stock more than doubled following the announcement that came yesterday. A new world screwworm outbreak. Those are flies, screwworms. They're flies that lay parasites, and that could kill animals. It's disrupting pet adoptions and animal transfers across Texas. The flesh-eating parasite has returned to the United States after 6 decades. Officials have restricted animal movements to prevent the parasite from spreading any further. Those restrictions have caused Texas shelters to become increasingly crowded because you can't adopt a dog or cat now from Texas because they may be infected. Shelters normally transfer thousands of dogs and cats to other states annually. Some facilities warn overcrowding could increase euthanasia risks for vulnerable animals. Federal officials are building facilities to produce sterile flies for control efforts, which is what they've done for mosquitoes. You produce sterile screwworm flies. They mate with the flies who think they're mating with somebody somebody who can produce offspring, and it turns out they're sterile and they've wasted their time because they're only on Earth for a few weeks. And they spend their time mating with one fly they think is going to produce offspring. It doesn't, and they die off, or at least they get into control. Ugly little creatures, aren't they? I'm sure they think I am too. Border agents discovered dozens of protected reptiles hidden inside a woman's vehicle. The discovery happened after officers noticed a moving pillowcase during a border search. Georgina Bribiesca Chavez was arrested on allegations involving wildlife trafficking. Inside those pillowcases, investigators found lizards, venomous snakes, and crocodiles. Several species are endangered or protected. Chavez pleaded not guilty. Yeah, they just crawled in on their own, all of them, while authorities continue investigating. Amazon plans on expanding drone deliveries to nearly 500 U.S. cities by year's end. We talked about this with Fisher the other day. It would end, or target, I should say, suburban communities and packages weighing 5 pounds or less. Customers could receive eligible orders within 30 minutes. Amazon said this yesterday. The expansion would increase Amazon's drone operations more than sixfold nationwide. Imagine you will hear bzzz in the skies above you everywhere you go. If you want to lay out in your backyard and enjoy peace, ain't going to happen. Amazon expects drones to serve communities including Chicago, Atlanta, Cleveland, and Boise, Idaho. Challenges include regulations, of course, noise concerns, trees, landscaping. But the electronics, the AI could see around that stuff. And the expansion has competition with Walmart and other companies also doing drone services. And get this, a tractor trailer overturned in Narragansett, Rhode Island, spilling 2 tons of squid. The accident happened Sunday morning near Point Judith Road and Galilee Escape Road. Police say the trailer became dislodged from the truck's cab before overturning. The squid shipment was headed to a processing facility when it occurred. The roadway remained closed for more than 7 hours. The squid cleanup efforts, several local and state agencies helped, saying this was squid apocalypse of 2026, sort of. It is 13 minutes past the hour. Students at James Caldwell High School are getting creative to raise money to support their fellow student leaders. We're going to talk about that when Mornings returns in 2 minutes. Very good morning. Welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato for your Thursday. We're live in New Jersey and New York right now on New Jersey, ONNJ. We also welcome our friends in California at on LACA and our new beta channel on FLA.com in the state of Florida. It is good to be with you. It's 15 minutes past the hour. We will take your calls at 888-658-0234. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the forecast near you.
Weather is brought to you by Viking Pest Control. Visit vikingpest.com.
All right, Mike. So we're taking a look at little clouds and sun this morning, but it's going to be a little rainy, just a little bit today,
Yeah,
right?
rain comes in later, but it turns brighter and drier tomorrow, Ken. So, looking forward to the awesome sunshine on your way for Friday and less humidity, which will feel very pleasant. The humidity is back today. You'll certainly feel that into this afternoon, especially with those clouds working in throughout the morning. You can see those rains just starting to cross over central Pennsylvania. They will be arriving shortly. So, as I mentioned before, the heat continues across much of the south. We're not really impacted by that here in New Jersey, even as we start to cool down over the next 10 days or so. So there's that big high sitting offshore in the Bahamas, allowing for that heat to persist. And then this big high keeps driving its way north and west, allowing for all of that continued excessive heat down in the southwest. So all of that hot weather keeps on going right through the weekend. It doesn't really let up. It actually keeps intensifying as we just have a little bit of wet weather here across New Jersey going into this afternoon and the evening. Tomorrow is beautiful, but another round of rain comes in for Saturday that gives us a wet start to the weekend, and then clouds linger for most of the day on Saturday before we see a clearing later Sunday, and that high pressure drives in cooler, drier weather for most of next week. It'll be seasonably warm, nothing too hot or humid, and the air stays nice and clear with that dry weather, lots of sunshine to go along with it. So the zoomed in view throughout the weekend shows that rain that comes in on Saturday lasts much throughout the day, and then again more rain on Sunday, but clearing completely on Monday and Tuesday. Looks very pleasant throughout the first part of next week with a lot of clear sky heading into the good part of next week. So very pleasant weather. You can even see some of these storms later on this evening down south of 195 could actually be a little intense with some downpours, maybe gusty winds as that front pushes through. And then after the clearing tomorrow, we get another round, this time for the northern half of the state on Saturday, with that wet weather taking over. And then finally, ultimately clearing out by Sunday afternoon with some dry weather to start off next week on a very pleasant note. So pretty nice stuff on the way that'll make it feel like, well, dare I say, late summer, early fall, just in time for the last full week of August, Ken.
Unbelievable. I can't believe how summer just literally flew by. I mean, we
Mm,
say it every year. Maybe it's as we get older, it's just gone. Unbelievable.
yeah.
There's got to be a couple of Frank Sinatra songs about this. We'll just start singing them later. Summer
More than
wind,
one, I'm
da, da,
sure.
da,
Yeah.
da.
Yep.
Exactly. All right, sir. We appreciate you. Thank you very much. It is 70 degrees right now in northern New Jersey, 67 Trenton, Los Angeles, 69, and it is 69 degrees also in San Diego. In terms of traffic, we have a lot going on right now. Let's go to the Garden State Parkway, where we have an overturned vehicle on the GSP northbound south of exit 136. Look at this absolute mess of a scene. When was the last time you saw that messy of a scene during the morning drive? This is going to cost you a lot of time. This is causing backups of about 3 miles right now. And you can imagine because of what you have to drive into here. So again, this is an crash with an overturned vehicle, Garden State Parkway, northbound, south of exit 136, Stiles Street in Clark Township. You got two right lanes and both shoulders blocked. So everybody has to get down to two to three lanes, depending on where you are as you pass here in the middle. But that is a busy area of the Garden State. And a lot of people work at the pharmaceutical companies. They're all going to work right now and they are jammed in that. Look at it, stopped. It's absolutely stopped. What an absolute mess. My goodness. Hopefully they'll get to work soon. But if you are a boss at one of the companies in that area, Clark or further south, just please be patient with your employees. Another issue on the Garden State Parkway right now, disabled vehicle on the Garden State northbound, north of Colonia service area, Woodbridge with the right lane blocked. That's causing just a little bit of a slowdown there. Look at that. That's about 2 miles of backups. Just a mess. It's a troubled day. Route 73, we have a traffic signal down northbound by Hilton Road in Pensacola, and all lanes are closed there. And then the New Jersey Turnpike, disabled tractor trailer, western spur, southbound, south of interchange 15W, which is by 280 in Newark. All lanes are open. The vehicle's now on the right shoulder, but it's causing a lot of brake checking for people who go by. Look at the Hudson River crossings, too. Not so good on the Holland Tunnel approach from Route 139 at the Turnpike into the Tube. Look at those lanes stopped. That's going to cost you 30 to 35 minutes in. Much better at the Lincoln Tunnel. Building, but it is certainly moving. This is the approach in, look at that, to the Helix. And that's moving pretty well, actually. Yesterday at this time, that was stopped. So this is a good deal. We're told it's only 15 minutes in to get into the Tube right there at the Lincoln Tunnel. And then the GWB upper and lower levels moving actually very well right now, only 10 minutes. So those are your best bets. Take the GWB, take the Lincoln. You see a little buildup just at the top of the screen. It's slowing down. But this is the 3-mile point into the bridge. In Los Angeles, all we have right now, two collisions, but not causing traffic. One is on the 10 at Garfield in East LA, and the other South Butler Avenue and Merce Street in South LA. 21 minutes past the hour. Students at James Caldwell High School are getting creative to raise money and support their fellow student leaders. The school's Future Business Leaders of America, or FBLA chapter, is preparing for 2 community events this school year. Here to tell us more about how the community can support these upcoming events is Calvin Harper, FBLA co-advisor at James Caldwell High School in West Caldwell. And a very good morning to you, sir. Good to have you on.
Good to have you, Mr. Rosato. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
You bet.
How are you today?
You bet. I used to live 3 minutes. I used to live in North Caldwell, right? 3 minutes away from you.
Okay.
So I know exactly where you guys are. And you said,
Awesome.
what a great organization to teach business to students, because so many
Right.
students come out of school, they know nothing about economics, nothing about business, nothing about
Right.
negotiating. This is brilliant. So for people who aren't familiar with FBLA, talk about the organization and what it offers students there.
Yeah, FBLA is a career technical student organization. It's the largest one in the world with over 225,000 students worldwide. And they teach leadership skills through competitions, community service. And it's a great organization. There are over 6,000 schools in the state of in the country that have FBLA. And so we attend regional, state, and national conferences where the students do workshops and professional development. It's a great organization, great opportunity. So our kids really love it. We're going into year 6 at James Caldwell High School.
So dumb it down for me. Dumb it down for me a little bit, because that's we're speaking in generality. So for people who say, well, so my
Yeah.
kid goes to this program, what's going to happen? What does the child learn in that program so that when that child graduates high school, he or she can have a career as a business person?
Yeah. Well, they definitely learn networking skills. They learn how to communicate in business settings. There are tons of opportunities to give presentations and do different things that put them in front of audiences where they have to speak publicly, which is a hidden gem when it comes to careers. People in the world of business know how to speak in public and how to speak in front of groups. And that's a big part of what FBLA does, as well as taking leadership roles to community service, as we do things for the elderly and we do things for young kids, and we collect donations and drives for the homeless and things of that nature. And the kids get to sacrifice their time and their efforts to helping others. And so in correspondence to that, we also do things like fundraising to go to our trips and attend our conferences and to compete. And the kids really love it because it's a student-led organization. So the main thing that young people need to know about FBLA is not a lot of adults standing in front of you talking to you all the time. It's really kids your age and people in your network that are really communicating and doing things together. And it's not just a bunch of adults teaching you in the classroom all the time. It's a lot of hands-on activities that translate well to the classroom. And FBLA also offers numerous scholarships for college students.
Calvin, I'm so glad you mentioned a public speaking thing. My brother has been an executive with IBM from the day he graduated college, and he's about to retire. He's been there the entire time. But one thing he said,
Right.
he went to a private high school, good colleges. He said they never taught him public speaking, and that it took him like a year to get over his fear
Yeah.
of doing presentations publicly at IBM. So the
Wow.
fact that you're getting these kids comfortable speaking publicly, you're putting them 100,000 miles ahead of everybody else because so many kids, especially after the pandemic, they can't speak publicly. They
That's right.
clam up. So the fact that you're giving them that ability to be comfortable in a public setting and get rid of that fear of public speech, you're putting them right at the front of the line.
Yeah, no, it makes a difference. And so many students that have gone through FBLA and have come back to tell our students or reach back or come back to visit and say how much of a great of experience it was because of all the things that they got to do and experience that would not just in the classroom. It made their high school experience so much better.
Our director, Pam, I smiled. I don't know if you saw me off camera. Our director, Pam, said, I was the president of my FBLA in high school. So there you go. Now we
Ah,
have a connection. Pam was president. There you are. And she turned out, look, she
that's
turned
great.
out to be a big TV director. So that's a good thing.
She's doing big things
You got,
now. FBLA let her to
yes,
do big
she,
things.
yes, it did. You have two big community events coming up. You talked about how you guys get involved in the community. So you have the Haunted High School, October 26th is one of those things. So what can families expect there?
Right. So on October 25th, actually, we're doing a haunted
25th.
high school where we turn our high school, the one wing of our high school, into like a haunted house. And people from the community can come by and walk through. They pay a little bit to come in, really inexpensive, $4 for kids, $6 for adults. And our students decorate the school as like a haunted house. And they put on a mask and different costumes that scare the kids and scare the adults. It's fun for all ages. That's a great event. We've done it for a few years now, and it's very popular in our community. So it's open to anyone in the community can come through, bring the family. It's a great time. And we look forward to having a good crowd show up for that. And on September 26th, we have our car wash fundraiser. It's $5, not very expensive to come get your car washed and support kids. We utilize these fundraisers to raise money to send our kids to state and national competitions. I think that the best part of being an FBLA for us is to work together to raise the money, as opposed to just asking parents for hundreds of dollars. We get to work together to raise money, and it kind of builds camaraderie.
That is awesome. All right, Calvin, what is a website if people want to donate or to get more information for their child?
Oh, well, wow.
I didn't
We
mean to
don't
throw
have a
you off.
website, but we do have we have our Instagram,
Okay.
JCHS__ FBLA. And from that, you can find information about donating for our chapter.
Awesome. Very good. And we appreciate you coming on. Calvin Harper, FBLA co-advisor, James Caldwell High School in West Caldwell for the good students at West Caldwell and Caldwell, right? Those two communities attend your high
Yes.
school. And I used to
Two
live right
towns
next
together.
door. We used to go to West. My kids went to West Essex, right next door, but
Yes.
we were the other high school.
Big rival.
But
Yeah.
yes, I know. Very familiar. But you guys are a great school, and we appreciate what you
Excellent.
do.
Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much.
much for coming on. All right, sir.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much, Mr.
Calvin.
Rosato. Have a good day.
You too. It is 28 minutes past the hour. PSC&G is leaving its building in Newark. I got you there. Why? We're going to speak with Binge.com founder, co-owner, and editor Tom Bergeron about that and more in just a moment. Don't go away. Very good morning. 31 minutes past the hour, Thursday, August 20th, 2026. Welcome back to Mornings, live on the East Coast and the West on LACA for our folks in California, on FLA in Florida, and now meteorologist Mike Favetta as the forecast near you.
Weather is brought to you by Viking Pest Control. Visit vikingpest.com.
Boy, Mike, I got to call our friends at Viking. I was out in the yard yesterday and the bugs
Uh-oh.
were starting to pick up, not early, but later in the
Mhm.
day. I guess is humidity starting to creep back in?
Yeah. There's that. Certainly a little bit of a wind shift yesterday afternoon, so that always helps. But little bites too, especially around the ankles. This time of year, the mosquito and tick populations tend to surge, especially after all the rainfall we've had. Well, there's more rain on the way, so much so the Weather Service is issuing a flood watch for some areas. We'll show you that coming up in just a bit. That just happened during the commercial break. So with all of the dry heat out west, this hot weather persists, and it's all this upper level that allows for record highs to keep going. And then that strengthens going into tomorrow. So even more heat extending all the way from portions of Washington State and Oregon right down to Texas. It's another extensive heat wave that goes for places out west. Down toward Florida we go, where it had quite a bit of rainfall over the last few days, which is helping to cool things off. Didn't get to 100 yesterday in Miami, such as the case happened 2 days ago. First time that's happened in recorded history, but at least that daily, they call it the diurnal pattern. You know, the scientists, they come up with these fancy technical terms. It just means you get the afternoon thunderstorm every day, and that is what the Floridians expect each afternoon. You also expect lots of clear sky and a little bit of a more morning marine layer down along the south coast of California, and that will continue again through today and tomorrow with a clear sky right now and remaining so into the afternoon. So our weather looking dry to start, a little bit of sunshine giving way to clouds in New Jersey, and then lots of rain later on into tonight, but clearing just in time for a beautiful day tomorrow. Nice way to finish out the work weekend.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate that. At 7:33 Eastern, 4:33 West, 70 degrees northern New Jersey, 67 Trenton, Los Angeles, 69, and 70 right now in San Diego. Looking at traffic, we have a lot. Look at this on the Garden State Parkway. There is an overturned vehicle and crash. This is GSP northbound south of exit 136, Stiles Street and Clark. Two right lanes, both shoulders, both blocked. This is causing about 3 miles of backups, just an absolute nightmare. And this is going to be around a while. They've now shifted things. It looks now they still have that left shoulder closed. They had emergency vehicles on that left shoulder earlier. It looks like they're trying to open that left shoulder to traffic, but you can see everything's getting down to 1 or 2 lanes, and that's just causing a nightmare. And it's only going to get worse because traffic is building as time goes on. You could see the traffic in the opposite direction now, northbound. The northbound traffic is heavy because everybody's rubbernecking because of the southbound mess. So just anyone who has to go through that area 136 Garden State, just expect delays now in either direction. That's going to be there for just a while. Try to avoid it if at all possible. Over by the Colonia Service area, there's another issue. We have a crash that's off to the shoulder, and look at the buildup here. This is 2 miles going in. This is northbound side. And this is causing delays. This is going to be there for quite a while. It's been there for about half an hour now. We have a disabled tractor trailer on the Turnpike, Western Spur, southbound, south of interchange 15W, all lanes open, vehicle on the right shoulder. Hudson River crossings right now, 139 Turnpike into the tubes. You can see very, very heavy traffic. This is about 40 minutes in. This is your slowest point getting across the Hudson River. 40, it even looks probably worse than that right now. But your better bets, Lincoln Tunnel, GWB. Lincoln is moving beautifully right now, only about 10 minutes in. That's nothing at this hour on a weekday. And the GWB is absolutely wide open. That's also only about 10 minutes in. Upper and lower levels, either way, your choice. You make it in just a few minutes. That's the way to avoid the mess of the Holland. Go a few extra minutes of the Lincoln to avoid it. There you have it. It is 35 minutes past the hour. P.S. ENG is leaving. It's building in Newark. But they're not leaving Newark itself. They're just trying to save some money, right? Well, what's the real info behind this move? Tom Bergeron, the founder, owner, and editor of binge.com, BINJE, that is business in New Jersey every day. He's here to talk about that and more. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, Ken. Good to be here.
I love doing those teases. how could PSE&G possibly leave? So they've been in this building since 1978, 80 Park Plaza. They're the primary tenant, so it was named after them. They lease it. So are they leaving because they just need less space, or they're trying to save money? What's the deal?
So I think this is a classic case of modern day commercial real estate. You know, in the 70s, a big company would come in, take all kinds of space. Everybody was coming to the office. You do it all in one spot. Because if you want to talk to somebody, you have to go see them. And here's a case where you have a lease that's going to come up in 2030. You have a more mobile workforce. You have people that are working in different offices around the state. PS is headquartered in Newark and has a huge span there, but up to 75, 80%, I think, of their workforce is outside of Newark. So when they're looking on the renewal, did they want to stay here? Did they want to build a new building? And they eventually decided we're better off with some smaller buildings. There are a lot of services that we need to keep in Newark, that corporate headquarters will stay in Newark. But the era of a massive building just doesn't make sense anymore. This is not a post-COVID decision. This is just how do we serve our customers better? How do we interact with each other better? And they've made the decision to look around. And rumor of that has been spreading, which is why we did the story. Look, outside of Prudential, PS has been the biggest supporter and strength of Newark for many, many years. So if they were going to leave completely, that would be devastating to the city. They're not. They made it clear that their commitment to the city, both for taxes and philanthropy, is just as strong as it's always been. It's just a reshuffling of the real estate.
And you first broke the information that they were looking, or that they didn't renew the lease or whatever, months and months and months ago, right?
A while back, they announced that initially they thought, hey, we're either going to get a new building or more likely build our own building. And they spent a couple of years looking at all the real estate scenarios, and they realized all we're going is from A to B. We don't need a massive building. So, after a lot of looking around, they came to the decision that smaller places in Newark, and some of the people will work outside of Newark, is a better fit for us than to build a new mousetrap, so to speak.
Yeah, and it's not like they are a behemoth like car company or something and need to put their name on the side of a monstrous downtown tower to kind of strut their stuff. They're let's face it, they're the power company. You know what I mean? It's not like they have tons of competition. I mean, they do have the little guys trying to be the extra coordinators of power, but that'll never happen against the behemoth. So
they do, but
and
it should be noted that they're an extraordinary corporate citizen for what they do, not just in Newark but around the state. There's a handful of companies that are above the curve. We mentioned Prudential, J&J is also on that list, and some others. What they give back to the city and state as true corporate responsibility is worth noting.
Yeah, they are an integral part of the state of New Jersey, city of Newark, and they're part of the fabric. Without them, it's like you almost can't imagine Newark even existing at the state that it is in New Jersey without a leader like that, like PSC&G, an amazing organization. And you, sir, got an exclusive interview with Fred Mangione, who's in charge of raising sponsorships for Rutgers Sports. This is a big deal. Talk about that.
So this is another example of modern day business changing. And I think it starts with the idea that, not that we didn't know this before, college sports is a massive business, and you need a business leader, and college sports needs to be run like a pro sports organization. This is not to say this is the job of the AD. The AD has an incredible job managing the sports teams. So Fred is coming in to be the head of something called Scarlet Knight Enterprises. And his background is with the Jets, with the Nets. He most recently served as head of business development for the host committee. So he understands the area. He understands how things work. He understands premium seating. He understands selective sponsorships. He understands, how all of this works together to create an organization, because college sports is incredibly big business. If Rutgers wants to compete in the Big Ten, they needed to step up their business side of the game. And someone like Fred, I think they hit a home run here.
Yeah, I mean, look, I anchored in Miami for years, where the Dolphins were like secondary to UM. Everybody went to UM and FSU, and it was insanity. People talked about tailgating for weeks and weeks. above and beyond anything. You would see, we would have Dolphins games that were only half sold. Meanwhile, the college games would be sold out for months. So New Jersey has a lot of that. With Rutgers is just a phenomenal organization itself. Great university, obviously. But do you foresee, somebody with a brain like that, Miss Mangione, do you foresee skyboxes and things like that? I mean, to attract the big money into sports?
It's baby steps. And look, one of the biggest challenges for Rutgers is we are a pro sports area, New York, New Jersey, unlike some of the other places. And I did the story when the new president came in from LSU and brought in Kelly Zinn from LSU. Mm-hmm. And the line was, if you went to New Orleans and said, do you want 2 seats at the 50 for an LSU game or a Saints game, everybody would pick LSU. Up here, right, everybody's picking the Giants or Jets over Rutgers. So you have to approach it as, how do we approach that level? How do we compete against the multiple pro sports we have here? And part of that is more seating, right? They need to do stuff at the RAC. They need to help improve the football stadium. They need to, he was just talking about Rutgers wrestling, which is an incredibly top-ranked program. Wrestling is huge in the state. Why aren't we creating a better entertainment atmosphere at a wrestling match, at a college wrestling match? Because you go around the country, a women's college volleyball match at the University of Nebraska is like going to an NBA game. I mean, the way they bring the excitement, the energy, why can't we do that here? Someone like Fred with his background, understanding how sports works, understanding how sports is entertaining, understanding the marketing aspect and the sponsorship aspect is a real coup for them and something that they really needed.
And it's nice to have something to put the politics aside and have a whole group of people focusing on one thing and be unified with something like that, and especially now, right? Tom, tell us what you're working on this week. What else?
So a whole bunch of stuff coming up. First of all, in Binge, we're going to do our healthcare leaders from a business side. So a lot of people rank the top hospitals. We look at the top executives and what they're doing and the different programs that they have. So we'll have out that next week. We'll be talking to the new interim president at NJIT to see how he's going to put his stamp on the institution. And, just a whole bunch of stuff. News broke this morning, late last night. HelloFresh is closing a facility in South Jersey. And let's put it in context. This isn't a company that's leaving South Jersey. The company itself is having some financial struggles. They're closing facilities all over the place. But it's 300 good middle-class jobs that are leaving South Jersey by the end of the year. How does the state respond and react to that? Not their fault, but something they have to deal with.
Yeah, it's not just them. A lot of the food service companies, they came on strong, but there was so much competition. I was just reading Blue Apron is struggling too. A lot of them came on really strong, invested a ton of money, but because of the enormous competition, it's very hard for them. They're great companies, but it's very hard for them to compete. It's a tough game. We appreciate you so much, Tom Bergeron, the founder, owner, and editor of Binge.com. By the way, went to the site. I'm going to check out the Barnbird Chicken place that you did a story on. The good folks from Nigeria. Nigeria, biggest country in Africa. A lot of people don't realize a big diaspora around the world, 500,000 in the U.S., most of them focused in this area. And apparently this chicken place is getting great write-ups. I read your story, so I appreciate Binge.com focusing on that on this week's episode. So we will be checking that out.
Any way we can help.
Thank you, sir. You are awesome. Tom Bergeron, founder, owner, editor of Binge.com, BINJE.com. Have a great day. We'll see you next week. All right, Tom. It is 44 minutes past the hour. When we come back, College Achieve Public Schools is helping students get early experience through its Summer of a Lifetime program. We're going to talk about that in 2 minutes. Don't go away. Welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato. It is 46 minutes past the hour. We'll take calls at 888-658-0234. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the forecast for your city.
Weather is brought to you by Viking Pest Control. Visit vikingpest.com.
All right, Mr. Mike, what are we looking at today, sir?
Got some storms coming in later on today, and mostly across southern New Jersey, Ken. I think that's where they'll be a little more potent with some downpours, maybe some gusty winds. But as far as the rest of the country, it's all about the heat, the hot weather that stretches right back toward the desert Southwest, and even Florida taps into more of that excessive heat throughout today. Although by tomorrow in New Jersey, we clear out beautifully and bring back lovely amounts of sunshine with less humidity. That's what's going to feel great. And then the clearing that takes over after the weekend, because the weekend is a bit wet, we go right back to sunshine on Monday and Tuesday, and it's that continued low humidity that lasts into most of next week. So the last week in August, last full week in August, before the kids go back to school and get started, it actually looks pretty decent for some beach weather. Kind of time is running out if you look at the clock and say, wait a minute. It's already September this time this time in 2 weeks. Yeah, it's coming up quickly. And with the last bit of rain that comes in, it'll likely finish out the month on a slightly warmer than average note, whereas all of that heat continues across the west and southwest. Higher chances of rain going into the end of the month too. That likely picks up as we head toward the end of the month, but our drought is over and it looks great going into September to start off fall, which is typically a dry season, with pretty much reservoirs full across the state. So that's some good news.
If I hear you say one word about the fact that we're in a drought, sir, I'm going to send, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go adopt a bunch of little doggies who are going to come and bark outside your house all night so that when the babies finally stop crying, you're going to hear barking. That's the biggest threat I could give Mike right there. But no, sir, I appreciate the fact that, and I think we should all be very happy at the fact that we are now no longer at drought level, because we were at drought level for quite a while. So it's a good thing for us. I know a lot of the country is still suffering, though. I know the West, especially like Nevada, that whole area is still in massive drought.
They are, yeah.
So let's send some of the clouds that way now. All right, Mike. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate you. 71 degrees now, northern New Jersey, 67. Trenton, Los Angeles right now, 69. 68 San Diego. And in Fort Lauderdale, 81 for onfla.com, our sister channel there. In traffic, we have an absolute mess. Go to the Garden State Parkway, overturned vehicle. This has been going on for about 90 minutes, causing an absolute mess. 4 miles of backups now. This is Garden State Parkway, northbound, south of 136 Stiles Street, Clark. 2 right lanes, both shoulders blocked, and just an absolute mess of a morning for anyone who takes the GSP. Even the traffic coming around on the northbound side, it's not as bad as it was, but there is a little bit of rubbernecking still happening. Earlier, the northbound side was just as slow as the southbound side because of rubbernecking. New crash reported right now, 1 and 9 express lane southbound, big intersection, 1 and 9 right by 22 in Newark. At the heart of the rush hour, there is an accident closing a lane. The left lane is now closed. That's got to, we're looking for the camera shot of that, but that's got to be causing an absolute nightmare going into Newark. Route 73, now we have a traffic signal down northbound by Hilton Road in Pennsauken. All lanes are closed there. We have a disabled tractor trailer, Jersey Turnpike Western Spur southbound, south of 15W, which is I-280 in Newark. All lanes are open. The vehicle's on the right shoulder. And then we have a crash with property damage. That's never good. That means it's going to be there for a while. Overturned tractor trailer, Jersey Turnpike southbound entrance ramp from 287 to interchange 10 Edison. Left lane is blocked. Also a very big and busy interchange right there. We go to the Hudson River crossings, the worst of the three, because we're doing a comparative, superlative. What's the third? I always forget that. Anyway, take a look. We have the Route 139 in the Holland Tunnel. This is going to cost you about 45 minutes making your way into Manhattan via the Holland Tunnel. That's that's the left tube that's worse. On the top of the screen there on the left side, those are going into local lanes, so into the local streets of Jersey City. The ones stopped are going into the tube, so there you go. Over to the Lincoln Tunnel, it's a great alternative. Go to the Lincoln, drive another 10 minutes, take the Lincoln. It's moving great. It's only 10 to 15. And then the GWB is only 10 minutes. wide open 8095 approaches, upper and lower level. Everything is just flowing beautifully into Manhattan, better than usual. So take the GWB or the Lincoln as your alternates. LA, all we have right now is a collision on Normandy Avenue in West LA. And we have a collision just reported, Altadena at the 210 and North Baldwin Avenue. It is 52 minutes past the hour. College Achieve Public Schools, CAPS, is helping students to get early experience through its Summer of a Lifetime, or SOUL program, which gives students the opportunity to live and study on college campuses around the world. And this summer, CAPS students travel to places including MIT, Harvard, Princeton, even Oxford in England. Joining us now is Dr. Jamar Mills, Chief Academic Officer at College Achieve Public Schools, to tell us more about the program. Doctor, good morning.
Good morning, Ken. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on. What a great organization. And for people hearing about it for the first time, talk about SOUL, Summer of a Lifetime program, and how it began.
Yep. And so our mission is to get students into and graduated from the top colleges and universities in our country. And in order to do that, we want to make sure that students experience college well before they actually leave our doors. And so Summer of a Lifetime was birthed out of that idea that students need to not only pursue college, but they actually need to have a college experience before they leave and graduate from high school. And you can imagine that students, that majority of them are first generation students, not having an opportunity to, let alone be on a college campus within their own counties or neighborhoods, but now get an opportunity to actually travel outside of the country and live on Oxford's campus for 15 days and actually stay in the dorms and travel to the mess hall, and then of course participate in courses inside of the academic buildings, is something that we thought would really eliminate as best as we could imposter syndrome, and really get students comfortable with knowing that they belong there.
That's the thing. You have students in the inner city who may have never even heard of Oxford. What's an Oxford? The idea of traveling outside the country, foreign. All of a sudden, they are not only traveled outside the country, but they've gone to one of the world's greatest, if not the greatest university. And in a matter of days or weeks, suddenly they feel like, I belong here. This is me.
Yeah.
I can be here. You've now created a reality that didn't exist before. This is brilliant. Why was this never happening before? This is so smart. How do you guys get the financing for this? Because this is something that I think if more people heard about, everybody would want to donate to this.
Yeah, so we do have a nonprofit, College Achieve Public Schools, where we pool money that we actually earn through other investments and things that we're actually doing on the ground with schools, and we take that money and we earmark it for students. And so we have not actually fundraised any money. This has all been out of pocket from dollars that we've had on our own balance sheets, and we've used that to ensure that students have these kinds of opportunities. Now, granted, we would like to subsidize that cost, but that's not going to stop us. And I think that might be a roadblock for some entities. It's just that they aren't equipped or set up to really fund these kinds of opportunities for young people. But that's something that we're going to always make room for.
And this way, for sure you have serious students who really want to dream big and will succeed and achieve because they're reaching for the stars. You can only get there if you reach for it first, right?
Yeah.
How does being on the campuses change the way the students see themselves? When students go abroad or go to Harvard or go to MIT, go to Princeton, we have Princeton in our backyard. When they stay on the campus and hang around with other students or go to the mess hall, or, have cafeteria there and have lunch around other students, what happens in the mindset of those students afterward?
Yeah, and so I was able to actually visit a group of students on Princeton's campus just a few weeks ago, and then to know who they were before entering the program, and then being there to hear their feedback, the amount of commitment that students leave with for their own self intrinsic motivation to really get it done. They begin to believe that Princeton is in their future. They also have a deeper understanding of what it takes. when you're meeting with professors that are expressing how cell phones were made and that they were actually pieces of it made in our backyard, you begin to see the possibilities of what can happen for you. And so students are really, really excited. I watch a young person, draft, fill out a kind of like a commitment sheet. And they just said, I want to improve my character. I want to improve my studies. I know what it's going to take. And those are things that I think money can't buy. It's that thing that's happening in the student's mind at such a young age cements itself, and then they take it from there.
I love it. I love it. What's a website for people to read more, find out more, and get folks more involved?
Yeah, so you can go to collegeachieve.org. There's a ton of information there. There's videos. You can see students in Tuscany. You can see students in China. You can see them in Tokyo, all on universities' campuses, doing work, majoring in things that they're most interested in, from business to agriculture, from farm to table, all these kinds of things they're experiencing. So that's a place where all of our contact information is. And if anyone is interested in donate, we would love to have that subsidize more students, because our ultimate goal is to get 100% of our seniors into a program like this each summer. Right now, we average about 40% of our students getting this opportunity. But we want to increase it to 100%.
May they be our ambassadors abroad, too. I mean, we have 3 million Chinese students who've come into colleges around the country, and I think we send 10% of that number out abroad. It's ridiculous, the disparity, and unnecessary. It's great that you're doing this. Dr. Jamar Mills, Chief Academic Officer at College Achieve Public Schools. We need you to come back again and talk more about this program. It sounds phenomenal, and we appreciate you for what you do, sir. Thanks for coming on today.
Thank you. And maybe one day
All
we
right.
have a student. Thank you, Ken.
Amen. Fingers crossed. You got it.
Yes.
All right, sir. Have a good one. Thank you. What a great program. I love that. I mean, you're talking about transforming lives. I love that. Kids who before that may have never thought or dreamt, suddenly having a whole new life. It is 59 minutes past the hour. Those of you watching on LACA on the West Coast, stay tuned for your local news. If you're watching on New Jersey, we'll be back just a moment with New Jersey news, opinion, weather, and traffic. Thanks for watching. Very good morning. It is 8:01 Thursday, August 20th, 2026. Welcome to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato taking calls at 888-658-0234. Partly cloudy this morning, becoming cloudy, rainy this afternoon, just for a little bit. Highs, low 80s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the full Garden State forecast.
Weather is brought to you by Viking Pest Control. Visit vikingpest.com.
It's coming.
Now,
Give it a
Mike
sec.
Mike is in
It's
the
warming
dark.
up.
Mike is in the dark about things.
Warming
And
up.
so as a result, we're looking at the
There we go.
recesses of Mike's mind. Oh, there he is.
You know
Good one.
when
Let's try.
the
Take two.
the
It's never
jacket
went on the
sleeve
air.
gets stuck?
Take two.
The jacket sleeve gets stuck. And so I'm trying to reset the camera with the sleeve hanging out like this, and it just...
You know what? Fire your intern. Fire your intern. Oh, you don't have one. Never mind.
It's okay. It's
Rocco
all right.
is your intern, your
In my
dog.
mind. Right. He's back asleep. He didn't even sleep when I come down this morning to the office with me. So I'm not sleeping on the job. All right. Let's get to it, Ken. We've got beautiful weather on the way for tomorrow. Today, a lot of rain coming in, especially this afternoon, which is why Weather Service put out a flood watch for most of the state. The dew points are high. It's muggy again across New Jersey, so we begin with that humid feel, even though temperatures cooled off a little bit since yesterday, by a degree or two down the shore. But it's all about that big rain that comes in this afternoon. So even though it starts off nice and sunny right now, clouds quickly take over by the end of the morning. Come 2 o'clock, you see the spotty showers across the state, and then those big line of storms by later on this evening. It's all over by 9 or 10 o'clock at night, but then with tomorrow's cloudy start to the day across southern New Jersey, sunshine across the north, there's more rain on the way for Saturday. So I think Saturday starts off pretty wet and stays wet through most of the week. And even though there's some breaks of sun on Sunday, the last of the scattered showers exit by Sunday night, and we're back to a beautiful start to next week, with Monday looking very pretty and very dry. So tomorrow looks amazing, lots of clear sky, and it's really the best day of the week, because into the weekend, some showers return with the wetter day on Saturday. I heard your comparative superlative comparison before. And then by Sunday, we're back to warmer weather with a few afternoon spotty showers. So it gets better into next week. Just have a couple hiccups along the way, Ken.
That's the thing. I kept thinking it's comparative. What is it? Comparative, superlative. What am I forgetting? I'm forgetting one of them.
I think you're adding one. I think it's just comparative superlative.
So you have right. Okay. All right. I don't know why I
Let's
I
ask
kept
AI.
thinking there's something else. Yeah.
I mean, AI should be good for something, right? So we'll check it.
AI is going to replace us all. Give it a week or two. All right. Thank you very much, Mike. We appreciate you, sir. 70 degrees northern New Jersey right now. It is 71 degrees Trenton and 68 degrees in Cape May. 8:04 is our time. If you are a comic book fan in New Jersey or anywhere, there is a lot to be excited about this month. New Jersey native Kevin Smith is back with another Marvel Comics project, and fans are going to soon have the chance to meet him at his iconic Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash in Red Bank. If you're a comic guy, you know everything about this place. Smith's new Marvel miniseries, Spider-Man, Hulk, Fire and Brimstone, hit comic book shops this morning. And this Saturday, he's holding a signing at the Secret Stash. We say good morning to you, Kevin. Kevin Smith.
Good morning. How are you, Ken? Excellent to speak to you so early. I'm in the
Great.
West Coast, man, so it's like 5 in the morning here.
We have our West Coast channel too. We just got off the air with them at about 5 minutes ago, but we could have had you on that first hour and you would have been really tired. That would have been awful.
Yeah, truly. I was delighted to actually be here for the weather report, to hear what it's going to be like in Jersey, since I'm going to be there this weekend. I'm coming out tomorrow. It's Friday night. I have movie theater, Smod Castle Cinemas, and we're doing Jaws live, and I play Matt Hooper. So rain tomorrow is good because that'll push people into our theater. Rain on Saturday is a downward thing for me, because we're going to have people lined up for the signing at the comic book store. So as I was listening to the weather report, I was like, okay, we're going to have to wind people throughout the aisles in the store to keep them out of the rain, man. But we've done it before. We did a signing just recently with Jason Mewes, when a comic we did a couple months ago called Jay's of Future Past came out with Marvel. So this is a new book I got coming out with Marvel. They just announced last week that I'm writing a Marvel and Star Wars crossover that comes out in January. That got a lot of attention. But this week I've got Spider-Man Hulk coming out, which is not exactly a tie-in to the movie Brand New Day, but features, two of the characters that are in that movie as well. And last year, Marvel told me, they were like, we got this Spider-Man movie with Hulk in it, so we want to do a comic book that kind of ties in a little bit. Do you want to write it? And I said, absolutely. So me and my friend Andy McElfresh wrote it. RB Silva drew it, and it came out already. And so at the Secret Stash this weekend, I'm going to be sitting there signing comic books for folks.
I love it. This is, and by the way, very exciting to talk to you. We appreciate you taking the time this morning. You should use our
same Jersey legend right there.
Ah, well, thank you. If I'm a legend in my own mind, at least, and that's a good thing. Well,
truly,
you should use our Mike.
You got to appreciate yourself first. You have to appreciate yourself first, Ken, before you can expect anybody else to jump on board as a fan. So if you're a legend in your own mind, that's how it begins, man. That's how it began with me. That's for sure.
God bless you. Well, you've certainly achieved. You're huge. And our Mike Favetta, our meteorologist, anytime you need a forecast, whatever city you're going to be in, let him know, and he'll give you the customized forecast locally. So I'm sure. Look at what I've just pledged him to. He's like, "What did Ken just say?" But I'm sure Mike would love to.
I know.
Too. He would definitely love to.
I'll get Mike and his little dog too. I'll be honest with you.
It sounds very comic book. Hey, you and your little dog. So now you got Spider-Man. You're putting Spider-Man and the Hulk together. What makes that such a fun pairing for you as a writer to have the two of them together?
It was good times because you're talking about two scientists. Peter Parker is a scientist, as is Bruce Banner, and their lives went in two different ways, but science obviously affected them a great deal. In this story, the Hulk leans into faith and the Catholic Church in order to cure himself of his alternate personality. I went through all the comics in Marvel history with Hulk to see if anybody ever did the exorcism of the Incredible Hulk. Nobody did. So I was like, that's the story that we're doing. So in this story, Dr. Banner, a man of science, turns to the church to see if they could get rid of the Hulk for him. And then all hell breaks loose.
I love it. I was, I'm a former Catholic priest, for real. I really am. So this really intrigues me. I got to definitely get into this. This is going to be fascinating.
We'll make sure we get you a copy.
Oh, beautiful. And by the way, if you ever need a consultant on the church, let me know. I'll be more than happy. You're also celebrating the release with the signing there of this weekend. We're talking about this on the 22nd. What does it mean for you to bring the fans together at such an iconic store for these comic releases and see them face to face?
It's always great to bring people into the store. Comic books, like records, are a medium that is rarefied. It's not exactly as mainstream as it used to be back in the day, but the ardent comic book enthusiasts keep comic book stores alive. We've been in business. This is our 30th year. In December, we celebrate our 30th year in business as a brick and mortar comic book store. So having anybody come through the door, it's like the Catholic Church, Ken. It's just like not as many people go as when we were kids. So anybody coming through the door, you're happy to see. And if me being there signing my comics can bring a few more people in, that's great. I love being in the heart of Red Bank, where the store has been forever. We used to have the TV show on AMC, Comic Book Man, which was shot at the store. And when I go back to Jersey, I get to double up. So not only do I do stuff at the comic book store, then I'll do stuff at Smodcastle Cinemas as well, the movie theater. And I get to interact with the people who like our stuff, which is always wonderful. Like September 25th, we're having our event that the third time we've ever done it at the movie theater. It's called Open All Night, where it's essentially you come in your pajamas, bring a pillow and a blanket because it's a slumber party. And we watch at midnight Clerks, at 2 a.m, Clerks 2, and then at 4 a.m, we have a collective existential crisis watching Clerks 3. And then at 6 a.m, we open up the shutters and we have a breakfast catered from Quick Stop, which is like 1 mile away and stuff. So doing events like that, like not only keeps the lights on and pays bills, but it's fun for the folks who are into what we do. And so Comic Book Store, Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash, no different. For almost 30 years now, we've been having events there a couple times a year so that people come down. We hang props from the movies, artwork from the comics. So it's a bit of a museum as well. So if you're there for the comic book signing, there's going to be plenty to look at.
That is huge. And what a fun gathering. That's something people will talk about for years, having attended something like that. And listen, I'm also a former ABC employee. I have a lot of formers in my life. I was with ABC Disney for 20 years. And we'll talk about Star Wars, Marvel, Hope Assembles. It's the first official crossover between these two iconic universes. So what can you tell us about that project?
What was it? Not last December, but I guess it was last December 2025. They reached out to me. I was already working at Marvel, and they said, "Hey, the folks at Lucasfilm want to talk to you, and you have any interest?" I said, "Of course." So when I got on the phone with all of them, they said to celebrate Star Wars 50th anniversary, which happens in May of 2027. It'll be 50 years since the original Star Wars came out. Marvel for years has wanted to cross over the characters. Marvel has published Star Wars comics since even before Star Wars came out. Very first Marvel Star Wars comic book came out a few weeks on the stands before Star Wars even came out in theater. It was an adaptation of the movie. So they've been in business together since the beginning, but the characters have never crossed over. You've never had Spider-Man meeting Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader fighting Doctor Doom, even though fans for years have always wanted it. And then Lucasfilm said, we're going to do it for the 50th anniversary. They're like, would you be interested in writing it? And I was like, are you kidding me? I've been writing this since I was a kid, man. When I was collecting Marvel comics that was publishing Star Wars, I was a Star Wars subscriber and stuff. So it was a job I couldn't pass up on. An easy job because I just have to write the story. David Marquez is handling the artwork, and he's doing phenomenal work. They released the covers last week, and so everybody got to see their favorite characters standing side by side. Han Solo standing with the Guardians of the Galaxy and Wolverine and stuff. Very, very cool if you're a comic book nerd. And even if you're not like a comic book nerd, just the idea of these characters crossing over seems to have captured everybody's imagination. So I'm honored that they asked me to do it. It means the world. I've been talking about Star Wars in the movies I've made since Clerks, for heaven's sakes, and Marvel as well. So it's really nice and quite an honor. They came to me and said, why don't you write this story that the world's been waiting for years? So hopefully I don't let them down.
Kevin, with a couple of minutes left here, what is your technique? Do you, as you're walking around the world, do you look at something and think, that'd make a good topic, or we could use this character for that in real life? Are you always thinking creatively like that when you're walking around in the real world? Well, I'm just thinking about where am I going to buy a bagel?
I think most writers are, at the end of the day, we're always kind of collecting details and factoids that we can weave into whatever it is we're working on, and it makes it seem more realistic and whatnot. But yeah, I think it's the same for most writers, but definitely for me, the brain is always going, and you have limited time in this world. I just turned 56 a couple of weeks ago and whatnot. So time was when I started my creative journey, I was in my early 20s and whatnot. So it was like, I got my life ahead of me. Now you can sense the window closing, which is like, you're not going to be able to do this forever. If you're lucky, you get maybe another 20 years of doing this. So you start thinking about like, all right, well, how much more do I want to say before I can't say anything anymore? And I'm happy to report that even though I've been doing this now, let me see, Clerks came out in 94. So, 32 years at this point. I still wake up every morning and go like, what story do I want to tell? So it still captures my imagination the same way it did when I was a kid. I've never lost interest in writing something. Making the movies is a whole different beast because you got to go out and find the money and stuff. We did, and where it looks like this fall we're making the new Jay and Silent Bob movie, thank the Lord. But the creative drive never seems to go away, and it's wonderful when it gets fed in ways like Marvel's like, hey, do you want to write some comics? And I'm like, oh my Lord, yes. Like I would never make a superhero movie. It's just beyond my capabilities. I don't have that kind of talent. But writing this stuff, since I've been reading it since I was a kid, writing it comes fairly easy to me. And it's not just easy, but like it's a joy. When I'm writing like something like Spider-Man, Hulk, Fire and Brimstone, like I'll get up at 5 a.m. and run downstairs and just go back to it because I'm having such a blast. And then it pays like these wonderful trickle down dividends for the next few months, because someone will send me the pencils, and then someone will send me the inks and the colored version of the page, and then also all the lettering with the word balloons on it. So, for the little work I put in writing it, I keep receiving all this joy for the next few months until finally there's like a living, breathing comic book in my hand.
Amazing. Well, because of that brain of yours and the creativity, you've created joy in life for so many millions of people who otherwise would have had a lot of drudgery and depression. So we appreciate what you do and for sharing your incredible skills with so many people for so long, making so many people happy. You can see him this Saturday, August 22nd, noon to 5, Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash in Red Bank. New Jersey native, legendary filmmaker, actor, writer, comic book creator, Kevin Smith. I can't tell you how much we appreciate you coming on this morning, and have fun this weekend.
Means the world. Means the world that you had me on, Ken. Dominus Vobiscum, my friend.
Thank you very much. I give it right back to you. Thank you very much, Kevin. God bless, my friend. Have a great weekend.
Talk to you
All
later.
right.
You as well. Thank you.
You bet. Thank you. What excitement. That was great. I love that man. What a good guy, and how creative and how brilliant. It is now 17 minutes after 8 o'clock, 71 degrees, and we go straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta with a check of the forecast.
Weather is brought to you by Viking Pest Control. Visit vikingpest.com.
See, Mike, I hope you don't mind. I committed you to Kevin for a forecast wherever he has an appearance.
It's fine by me. When the weather forecast is endorsed by Kevin Smith, I will take it.
Uh-huh.
Especially, yeah, right? Although maybe not so much later on today, because there are some storms that come through, Ken, later on across southern New Jersey. It's a Thursday. Bringing back the threat of severe weather, especially south of 195. And I'll show you the map where the wind will likely be the main concern, the straight line winds with those storms later on today. So it's all about the very humid weather that's in advance of these storms. And then the drier air that pushes in tonight will make it feel lovely tomorrow, pleasantly, comfortably cool in the morning, and not all that humid even down the shore, feeling better before more rain comes in for Saturday to give us a wet start to the weekend. And then it feels rather muggy on Sunday, but even that clears out again for Monday. So we start off the day rather clear, but there is not going to be a whole lot of sun this afternoon. In fact, at noon, when the UV index is measured at its peak, it's only at a low, which is 1. So it goes to show that it gets cloudy in a hurry later on today, even though it's bright and sunny to start. The Futurecast shows it nicely, starting off the day nice and clear, and then the storms arrive probably as soon as 3-4 o'clock, specifically across southern New Jersey. And look at this line that moves through just in time for the evening rush into the dinner hour, clear across the Turnpike and Parkway with those shades of red and purple. That's the severe stuff that will likely cause some issues before we tap into some clear sky tomorrow, and then more rain on the way for Saturday, just kind of adding to that additional rain in the bucket. So as far as the severe wind outlook, anytime we get into that red area or 30% chance of severe wind, this is a statistical categorical thing. It's nothing that it's something that the Severe Storm Prediction Center classifies as pretty intense. So you likely see some power outages, some trees down, especially there it is south of 195 later today with this really bad wind. There's also a higher chance of tornadoes too, because there's a little bit of spin in the atmosphere. We'll talk about that coming up in just a bit. As we go into the weekend, tomorrow's gorgeous, but there's more rain on the way for Saturday and Sunday, and then it clears out for next week. The details coming up, Ken, on the 7-day in a few minutes.
All right, Mike, thank you very much. We appreciate you, sir. And we take a look at the temperature. 71 degrees in northern New Jersey, 71 Trenton, 69 degrees Cape May, 70 degrees in Vineland. Just a couple of little bits of traffic to tell you about. We still have that crash and overturned vehicle in the Garden State Parkway northbound south of exit 136 Stiles Street. Clark, 2 right lanes, both shoulders are blocked. And that's been a mess for about an hour and 15 minutes now. So if that's where you're headed, just watch out for that. We look at the Turnpike. There's a crash and overturned vehicle. This is by the northbound side at interchange 13A by Newark Airport. 2 right lanes blocked. So if you're headed to Newark or know somebody who is, they could have some problems. Try to avoid that area if possible. 1 and 9, crash express lane southbound north north of 22 in Newark. The left lane is closed. And we take a look right now at your Hudson River crossings. 139 making your way into the Holland Tunnel, still 40 to 45 minutes. You can see the delayed cars there. The ones that are moving are going to the local lanes. They are not going to the into the tube. The ones that are stopped, basically, the ones headed to the tube. So that's an absolute mess. Your Lincoln Tunnel approach, definitely your better bet. Go the extra 10-minute drive. Take the Lincoln Tunnel. That's only 10 to 15 minutes in. That's flowing very well. Those are the cars going to the top of the screen. And your GWB approach, 8095, moving beautifully. Only 10 minutes in. Definitely the way to go. There you go. Wide open GWB. Very rare to see that at this hour. 8:21 is our time. Getting kids to drink enough water can be a challenge for parents, especially when you're trying to get everybody out the door to school, right? Well, two New Jersey moms saw an opportunity to make hydration a little bit easier and a lot more fun. Joining us now are Carly Bible, Chief Marketing Officer, and Gina Melnick, Chief Growth Officer of Sippy Kids. Good morning, ladies. Good to have you on.
Good morning.
Hi, good
Thanks
morning.
so much for having us.
I should be
Thank
here
you.
right
So
now
excited.
sipping. Why am I not sipping? I should be sipping.
We will send you
on
some.
camera.
Don't worry.
I would love it. I would love it. So let's start with Carly. Tell us about Sippy Kids. What inspired you ladies as moms to create the brand?
So the idea actually came from a birthday party. Gina was there, and I mean, we're both moms, so it's something that's super relatable, whether you have the plastic water bottles with the caps that says on it it's a choking hazard for kids, or you have the sugary juice boxes. And we were like, why is there not an easier, more accessible version of water for kids to drink? So that's where the idea came about. And when we looked it up, there was nothing on the market, which is crazy. So we're the first ever boxed water with a straw made just for kids. And we put it in colorful packaging just to make kids excited for it. And they go grabbing it thinking it's a juice box, but it's just pure water. So it makes moms happy as well.
And being in a juice box, I'm assuming there's no plastics there, right? You don't have those microplastics that everybody's screaming about in the plastic water bottles. Am I right?
Exactly. So it's in a cardboard packaging, and then the straw is plastic, but we're working on getting that to be biodegradable.
There you go. That's even better. I mean, look, I don't have kids, but I have nephews and nieces. And all I remember every time we'd be together is one of them would hand me a water bottle and say, Uncle Ken, could you open this? Uncle Ken, could you open this? So I know exactly what you're talking about. And of course, getting them to drink water is never something very exciting, but doing what you did, making those cute boxes like that, and making it something exciting is brilliant. So you saw that gap between traditional juice boxes and bottled water. Did you think when you first tried this that this would work, or how did you experiment with it?
Yeah.
Go ahead, G.
Go on, Gina, you go ahead.
So, we just saw a huge white space in the market. I think it just blew our minds that there was really no kids water category today. So between the three founders, we actually have 5 kids, 5 and under. So they have been our toughest critics, and we have just been trying to get them to drink, water as much as possible from day one. And when we first told them about Sippy, they were so excited about it, even when it was just white boxes with no design. We saw them going into the fridge and grabbing it themselves, and they loved the independence of it. And then from there, we started bringing it to birthday parties and family events, and we just saw that so many people just love this idea of having water in a convenient box for kids.
That is awesome. And, I think as adults, we forget that if you're not a water drinker, you forget that when you're young and you haven't been exposed to all these super sweet, gunky things, that water is what we crave naturally. That's why when you're an athlete and you're working out, the first thing you don't want something sweet and gunky. You want water, because that's what your body naturally craves. We were made to drink water. We are made up of 85% water, whatever. That's our body. So it just makes sense that you would get kids to be drinking water like this. And now with back to school season here, what are some simple ways that parents can make staying hydrated easier for their kids? Whoever would like to take that. Gina, you want to get that?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, back to school, it's such an exciting time, but also very chaotic. We know getting kids out the door in the morning is always a challenge, no matter how much you can be prepared for. So just something that parents could just reach into the fridge, throw it into their lunchbox. We just think is a huge time saver. And then also at the end of the day, just one less thing to clean, which is always a win.
And then Carly, you mentioned the straw is attached, right? So I guess that's what kind of an homage to the juice boxes to have the straw attached. But kids like that. The kids are into little things like that, the little skinny sippy straws and whatnot. So is that something that was very important to you when you ladies came up with the concept?
Yeah, the straw design was huge because we've seen boxed water on the market, but again, it's always with that cap. So with our kids 5 and under, they're pouring the water all over themselves. So with the like same design as a juice box, it just makes it so much easier for them and it's exciting for them as well.
Hey, I must confess to you, ladies, one little problem I have in the few times that I've taken a sippy box from one of my nieces or nephews, or should I say borrowed one, I guess I squeezed too hard and I've had the juice come squirting out of the straw all over me. Am I the only one that this has happened to?
Well, listen, so they have like the flaps on the side. So we always say pull it up and hold it by that. But again, with the water, if it does get on you, there's no sugar in it. So it's just water. So it'll dry.
There you go. Very, very smart. Now you mentioned there are three ladies involved here, right? So there was a third person. You want to give a shout out to them so that we don't leave anybody out?
Yes, so our third founder is actually watching right now. She's my sister. Her name is Amanda. Unfortunately, she couldn't
Hi,
be on
Amanda.
today, but she's the CEO and she is amazing. And we wish you were here, Amanda. So shout out to you.
There you go. Always want to make sure everybody's included on the show. We don't want anyone to feel
Yes.
excluded. So now you've expanded into more than 150 locations. That is huge. First of all, how difficult was it first to break through and get into a location? And now that you're in that large a number of places, what is that like maintaining volume in all those places?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, we launched 6 months ago, primarily in Monmouth County, and we are just blown away by the amount of support from local businesses and just that people instantly get it and that there's such a need for it for kids. From here, we want to be nationwide. We want to be everywhere that kids are on the go. So when they're thirsty and the parents don't have the water bottle, there's a sippy for them. So we really just, we're just getting started and have a ton of opportunity ahead.
That's fantastic. And I mean, who handles the day to day, like making sure stock is maintained in all these stores? Who does that? Carly? I don't know if Carly wants to tell, or Carly just stepped away. But Gina, do you guys? Is there like a designated role for everybody? Oh, you know what? I'm looking at the wrong camera. I'm sorry, Carly. We can go to Carly then. I was looking at. We have like five cameras going, and I was looking at the wrong one. So, is there somebody who's designated to take care of that? Does each person wear a different hat, a different role in the company?
We all definitely have our own hats. So my sister's husband is the biggest one that's in charge of all the stock and making sure shipments are being delivered. So it's definitely a family-run business. But I would say my sister is pretty much the head of it all. She's the brains of it all, and we give her so much credit because without her, I don't even know where we would be.
Wow. God bless your sister, your brother-in-law, everybody there. What is a website for more information so that people could learn more about the product?
So you can find us on sippykids.com. And we are also if you're in New Jersey, we're in Lavotti's Food Emporium. You can find us in ShopRite in it's more South Jersey, but we're hoping to be everywhere very soon. So keep watching us.
Very good. You know that if the North Jersey ShopRites, I know they're all owned by families regionally, that's why the ShopRite chain is unbelievable because they're locally owned by families. But you know that if they find out that the South Jersey ShopRites are doing well with this, they're going to pick it up in the North. That's just the way it goes. They're not stupid.
That's
They're
our
in
hope.
business,
That's our hope for sure.
right? They're successful business people for a reason. So it is called Sippy Kids. That's Sippy with an I, Sippi Kids. Carly Bible, Chief Marketing Officer, Gina Melnick, Chief Growth Officer. I applaud you as New Jersey business women. God bless you. May your product go and just keep growing and growing and growing nationwide. It's a great product. Who could say, oh, we don't like the idea of our children drinking pure water out of a container? Heaven forbid. I hope you have nothing but success. We appreciate you coming on today.
Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much.
much
So
for
nice to
having
meet
us.
you.
Nice to meet you. Wow, great idea. Simple. Sometimes we look right past the simple and don't pay attention. When we come back, a new salon and head spa in Red Bank is partnering with the Smart Foundation, SMART, to support single mothers and their children. We'll have the details in 2 minutes. Good morning. It is Thursday, August 20th, 2026, 72 degrees right now at 8:33. I'm Ken Rosato. Welcome back to you on New Jersey Mornings. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the Garden State forecast.
Weather is brought to you by Viking Pest Control. Visit vikingpest.com.
Mike, poor Pam, our director, said, because we had to cancel traffic because we have our guest coming up here. And she said, you know, you love me. And I meant to use an analogy that suggested I do love her because we do love our Pam.
Okay.
And I said, I
Yeah.
love you I love you like a broken arm. And she's like, what? She's saying how rude in my ear. What I meant is no matter what negative things may come about, like she's telling me I have to change the show, I still love you because you're part of me, right? So that's what I was trying to say, but I totally
Oh,
failed. I totally failed. That was an absolute fail. So she's saying Mike loves me more.
I mean, it's so easy to love Pam. She's like family, right?
Yes,
It's like she
she
really
is.
is. We love our Pam, and on a day like today when you have so much bad weather in the forecast, you think you gotta spread some love somewhere because the weather is not doing it for us today, especially in the evening drive. Ken, we start off with so much thunder and lightning and wind activity. There will likely be some pretty messy conditions on the roads later on today as those storms roll through. So you see the storms in the forecast. Winds are light right now. It's not really the issue. And the bug activity from our friends at Viking at the moderate level, but that likely goes down in the coming days thanks to the drier weather that returns tomorrow. Grass pollen remains a little bit elevated thanks to all of those lawns looking beautiful. And the sunrise and sunset times shorter daylight hours with the approaching fall equinox. So heading into the next few hours, you'll likely see beach conditions deteriorate. Even though the water temperatures remain warm for tomorrow, we're at 78 degrees all along. No rip current risk today. This is what I want to get to, the severe threat. Slight risk of severe weather across all parts of this area shaded in yellow. That's basically 195 and south. The severe wind outlook, because that's the primary threat as those winds push on through. But there is also another component of a tornado threat. And anytime we get to the 5% mark, especially for this large area across southern New Jersey, that's pretty likely that we'll see at least one or two reports of a tornado later on this evening as this whole system pushes through. So yeah, there's going to be some pretty nasty weather later on today. Plan on the power outages, plan on some gusty winds with that. Even as tomorrow's rain chances are down near zero, they actually come back pretty big for Saturday with some wet weather to start the weekend, and then we're back down to dry conditions by Monday. So a little bit of an up and down over the next few days, especially with the storms today. Clear sky all day tomorrow, maybe just some clouds by the beaches. And then for Saturday, the rain comes racing back in, gives us another wet start to the weekend, but that should clear ultimately late Sunday night, and full clearing occurs on Monday. So we have a really nice start to next week. And it stays pretty for the better part of next week as well. 7-day forecast has a clearing by Sunday afternoon. Monday looks beautiful, 81 degrees. And into next week, we keep that lovely weather around. Even beach locations staying pretty with temperatures only in the upper 70s. So that will feel lovely going into next weekend. None of that sticky, hot, and humid weather. We're finally beyond that and feeling much like early September should, just a few days early.
And by the way, Pam just said, Ken, you are not destined for the greeting card business. So with my analogy from earlier, the nice thing is looking out the window right now, by the way, it looks okay, but it's deceptive,
Yeah.
right? Because the sun that's
Right.
out there now is not going to last.
No.
So
no,
we're talking a
not for
few
long.
more hours. Enjoy sun until about midday, and then batten down the hatches. And now, of course, where you had the green red line, that's right where I moved. I'm right at the edge of the green red line
Right
on the
the
map.
beginning.
So you got it. All right, Mike, we will keep an eye out, and I appreciate you, sir. Thank you. 72 degrees now, northern New Jersey, 71 degrees in Trenton. It is 70 in Cape May. And taking care of yourself can be about much more than looking good. It could also be about slowing down and reconnecting with yourself. There's a new salon and head spa in Red Bank. It's putting that philosophy at the center of its business. Reset Salon and Head Spa is partnering with the Smart Foundation on a 3-month initiative supporting single mothers and their children. Joining us now is Danielle Fiorentino, founder of Reset Salon and Head Spa in Red Bank. Good morning. Good to have you on.
Good morning, Ken.
So, first of all, we have an accent on the second E of reset. Is there a reason for that?
No, I just wanted to be different. Make it look fancy.
Yeah, I thought, Danielle, there was this huge story about, well, in Lithuanian. And I thought there was this huge story. It's just being cute. All right, we'll go with that. I thought that was cute, though, nonetheless. And tell everybody what a head spa is. What is a salon and head spa?
So a head spa is basically just, it's a bed that we give your scalp a facial. We do a deep cleanse. We remove all your buildup, all your, oils, things like that build up on the scalp that you don't realize from day to day. And we do a deep cleanse. It's very good for you, of course, scalp wellness, but it also just feels amazing. So it's really great because I wanted to focus. I am a full service salon, but I wanted to focus on hair health as well. So I feel like when you have a healthy scalp, you have healthy hair.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I just know from when I go for a massage, when they then toward the end of the massage do the scalp, it's about 45 seconds to a minute. And it's one of the most pleasurable parts of the entire massage. Your whole body
Exactly.
tingles when someone rubs your head like that. You don't think about it because you never do, right? People just never do massage their head as they probably should to get the blood circulation there to keep those follicles happy and healthy. How long have you had the salons, Danielle?
So we actually just came up on our 2-year anniversary, June 25th. So it is still new. It's my baby, but we love it. And it's 2 years old and we're just getting started.
Fantastic. I love the idea that you're trying to make something different, a more unique approach versus the traditional salon. And you're partnering with the SMART Foundation, which is an acronym, SMART, beginning on September 1st. What does the partnership mean to you, and why did you want to support all the single moms in the area?
So yeah, beginning September 1st, we're partnering with the SMART Foundation, which is Single Moms All Rise Together. It's a Red Bank nonprofit founded by Nicole Gazzardi. They support single mothers and their children with the everyday things that hold a family up: food, housing, childcare, transportation, and job support. So I wanted to give back and donate to them and support the single moms. So 10% of every one of our seasonal rituals from September 1st to November is going to be donated right back to the Build Her grant. And it's just something it's a specific program that, just helps the everyday mom with their job, taking care of their children, things like that. Also, it's more for self-care. In October, we have a confidence day that I did, and I'm going to close the entire salon, and we're going to pick 3 single moms for a total transformation, things that they can't really do for themselves. So I feel like if you don't feel like yourself and you don't feel good, you can't show up for everybody else. So things that they can't give to themselves on the everyday, I wanted to give that and provide that for them. So it'll be head spas, blowouts, haircuts, facials, anything that they normally don't do for themselves, I wanted to provide for them.
And part of it is for 3 months, 10% of select services go toward the SMART Foundation, which is so nice. If people want to support you and support the SMART Foundation, support the initiative, how can they do that? Can they also do it with a website and make a donation?
Absolutely. So our website, resetrb.com. And then we also have an Instagram that we always put our information on there as well, how they can do that. And that's at resetrb. And then also there'll also be a link on the SMART Foundation as well and their website.
Well, I love what you're doing. You're a very kind and generous person. You clearly care. And it's great that you're part of the community of Red Bank. I'm sure they're very, very happy you are there. Danielle Fiorentino, founder of Reset Salon and Head Spa in Red Bank. All the success in the world. And thank you for being so kind and a good contributing business and community member in Red Bank. Thanks for coming on this morning.
Thank you so much, Ken. Have a good day.
You as well. All right. It's great. Yeah, that's the key. When you're in business, you got to give back. You got to be part of the community, reach out and be part of the fabric. And it doesn't take a whole hell of a lot. But just if everybody gives a little bit like she's doing, helping moms, single moms, to get out of their challenges, that's a lot if everybody does a little. All right. 8:43 right now. When we come back, New Jersey is making progress in the fight against the opioid crisis, with suspected overdose deaths falling significantly in 2025. We're going to talk about that in 2 minutes. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. Ken Rosato at 846, taking calls at 888-658-0234. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the forecast near you.
Weather is brought to you by Viking Pest Control. Visit vikingpest.com.
Oh, the pests are going to make a run for later today, Mike, when the heavy storms come in, right?
Yes, they are, especially as we get all of that rainfall, Ken, up to 4 inches by the time the weekend is through. And that's specifically through Monmouth County, where you see that 3 to 4 inch mark that's shaded in orange. This goes through including today's rain as well as Saturday's rain. It doesn't even include Sunday's rain, which won't be as impressive, just isolated showers. But to show just how much rainfall, this is a month's worth of rain over the next 2 days. Just for today and Saturday. But still, as we enter the peak of lanternfly season, you're going to see a lot of those next week, especially as the sun returns and the dry weather is out into the last full week of August. We wrap up today with those storms, not as severe across northern New Jersey. They'll still be potent, but won't have that extra kick of wind with them. And then as the rest of the month pans out, you can see where the Climate Prediction Center is getting all of that higher than average chance of rain when you just look at the forecast for the next 2 days. Also, the first few days of September, likely seeing a little bit of a warmer trend as all of that heat down across the south and west continues. The forecast is wet for today as well as Saturday, but tomorrow we get a nice dry day, beautiful pool or beach day, and then Sunday see some clearing. Look at next week's weather. Low 80s, lots of sunshine, keeping it clear through most of the week with that low humidity as well. Even the beaches look beautiful as we keep kind of pushing those clouds a little further down into the forecast. So we like that, starting off the last week of, unofficial summer on a very pleasant note, Ken.
I say that as a professor of meteorology, which for those who don't realize you are, I think you can declare that summer goes through November.
Okay, local summer, it does, right? Because local summer, you have folks flocking down the shore, maybe in lieu of doing all of the fall activities. They might say, well, I'm not going to go to the apple orchard and pay, $25 for a small bag of apples that I picked myself. No, I'm going to go to the beach where the beaches are empty because it's still warm and sunny. So you could do that still.
Right. Right. Even though the temperature says 36 degrees outside, it's going to be 92 in our minds because that's the way my mind works. It's a little dusty in there. Thank you very much, Mike. We will catch you. This is it. Enjoy your weekend.
This is it.
I'll
Yeah,
catch you next
before our
week.
break.
Absolutely. Wow. I won't see you for a while. By the time I see you, you're going to be old.
September.
Oh my
Catch you then.
God. How did that happen?
I know.
My God, we
Yeah.
get our long break. All right, sir. Well, enjoy. Have fun with the kids and the beautiful wife. Say hi to Steph. All right. We'll see you in a bit. It is 8:49 right now at, let's see, we have some traffic to tell you about. 72 degrees, northern New Jersey, 71 in Trenton, and it is 70 in Cape May. Let's go right over to the Garden State Parkway. We still have this crash investigation, overturned vehicle as well on the Garden State northbound south of exit 136 Stiles Street and Clark, 2 right lanes and the shoulder. Look at this mess. 2 right lanes and the shoulder closed. Now we're absolutely stopped. I think what it is they had the left shoulder closed as well. They probably want to try to reopen it. So they have to temporarily close everything. So this is now 4 miles of backups, 4 miles of delays on the Garden State Parkway going into 136. So because this is northbound, so basically from like exit 131, 132 up, it's just stopped. It's just bumper to bumper traffic. Try to avoid it if just at all costs. It's going to make a bad day for you otherwise. Just avoid it. On 208, we have a truck fire now. This is southbound Cedar Hill Avenue, Wyckoff, the right lane and right shoulder closed. Route 21 now. We do have a camera shot of this. Route 21, there's a crash northbound south of exit 13, Randolph Avenue in Clifton. All lanes are closed. There it is. Oh, you have the emergency. Maybe they just open a lane. They may have just reopened one, but you could see the emergency vehicles through that camera shot that they zoomed in on. So again, that is in Clifton on Route 21. We have 1 and 9, a crash in the express lane southbound north of 22 in Newark. Left lane is closed. Traffic signal down on 73 by Hilton Road and Pennsauken with all lanes. They've been closed all morning long. And then your Hudson River crossings, the only really messy spot right now getting across the Hudson is in the Holland Tunnel. And you could see the stopped lanes there toward the right side of the screen. That's going to cost you about 40 minutes in. Lincoln and GWB both moving well, only 10 to 15 minutes in with the Lincoln, only about 10 minutes with the GWB. Those are the ways to go. They gave us a wide shot now with the Lincoln. Earlier, that was a tight shot, but those are the way to go. Believe me, instead of choosing the Holland Tunnel. It is 8:51. That's the GWB wide open. Nice to see that. That's a rare shot right there. 8:51. New Jersey is making progress in the fight against the opioid crisis, with suspected overdose deaths falling significantly in 2025. But experts say the decline is not a reason to let our guard down as the illicit drug supply continues to change and new risks emerge. Joining us now is Angelo M. Valente, Executive Director of Partnership for a Drug-Free New Jersey. Welcome, Angelo. Good to have you on this morning.
Good morning, Ken. Thank you for having me.
Well, what a special thing to find out that New Jersey saw 1,312 suspected overdose deaths, but that number's dropping. It's not the good thing is not the 1312. It's the fact that it's dropping. What is behind, you think, the decline? Is it that we now have the drugs that can get you out of that, the Narcan that'll prevent the deaths?
So, Ken, I think it's a combination of different issues that came together over the last decade in New Jersey. In New Jersey, we have been really providing a full court press on addressing the opiate epidemic. We were the first state in the nation to establish a take-back day where people were able to dispose of their unused medicines. And we know that about 70% of people who use illicit drugs indicate that they get them from medicine cabinets of family and friends. So we addressed that about 10 years ago. And as a result of the success that we had in New Jersey, that particular initiative became a national initiative. The Drug Enforcement Administration now rolls out these take-back days throughout the country. That was one of the steps. Another step was New Jersey was the first state in the nation to establish a requirement that prior to prescribing an opiate, that a physician or a doctor, or a dentist or a nurse practitioner had to have a conversation with the patient or parents of patients about the addictive quality of the drug and any non-opiate alternatives that were available. Now, again, New Jersey, the first state. Currently, there are 23 other states that have adopted that same really crucial prevention measure, which provides life-saving information at the time of prescribing. And finally, I think, as you mentioned, New Jersey has made Narcan available without any questions asked. We have provided we're breaking down the stigma and providing opportunities for people to get treatment, because Narcan is the first step. They need to be able to now take the second step, which is treatment. And also, we have really, I think, made an unbelievable effort to educate New Jersey residents about opiates and about how dangerous they can be. That includes educating physicians, the people and dentists and nurse practitioners, the people who prescribe opiates. And at the Partnership for a Drug-Free New Jersey, we actually provide continuing medical education credits that help provide this information so that safe prescribing is at the forefront of potential prescribing of opiates.
And Angela, two things I just wanted to jump in with here that I've noticed in the last couple of years. Number one, I think a lot of, especially older people, they don't understand when you say you have opiates in the medicine cabinet. They're like, well, I remember there's an elderly Italian woman that I know who said, I don't have it. I'm not trying to make fun. I'm Italian. I don't have the opiate. I don't know what are you talking about. And I said, did you ever have surgery in the last 5 years? Oh yeah, I had this, or I had my broken arm. All right, did the doctor give you OxyContin? I think so. Yeah, I put the extra in the cabinet. They don't understand that that's an opiate. They don't understand that when they have a plumber in the house, that the plumber says, can I use your bathroom? And they go to use the bathroom. They could seem like the nicest person in the world. You don't know that person goes through the medicine chest, boom, takes that. You're not using them on a day-to-day basis. And maybe 2 years from now, you think, oh, I have that prescription in the medicine chest. Suddenly it's gone. That's how it happens, right? That stuff disappears and boom, gets out there, and you have addicts who then use that, or it gets out into the general supply. I think people don't understand. They need to have the practical explanation of how you have opiates in your house and how they get out, because people don't grasp that.
No, absolutely. That is a major issue. And you mentioned about elderly people. if those 55 and older, and I'm in that category, I could speak freely about it. We're more likely to be prescribed an opiate because of potential breaks of an arm or a hip, potential operations that we might be going through. So receiving an opiate is much more common among those individuals 55 and older. And unfortunately, in the statistics that you mentioned earlier, the one group that we have not seen a decline in of overdoses in New Jersey are those 55 and older. So what we have done at the partnership over the last 2 years, in partnership with the New Jersey Department of Human Services, is to host a healthy aging summit. We've had now 2 summits in Atlantic City, and we've gathered hundreds of senior citizens and advocates of seniors to help share this important message. The message that you mentioned about what an opiate is, also how to make sure that you don't have those opiates in your medicine cabinets, and steps that a senior could take in developing a healthy lifestyle, avoiding opiates. There's always a possibility of an alternative to an opiate in addressing acute pain. We've learned that. We've in particular, we talk about the elderly. On the flip side, with young people, the number one prescriber of opiates are dentists to young people for wisdom teeth extractions. And that's something that we see changing as we speak. New Jersey, the Dental Association, has been one of the people in the forefront of looking at alternatives to prescribe for wisdom teeth as opposed to prescribing an opiate.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to point out, excuse my hand being up, only because we're at the end of the show here, Angelo, but there is a drug, and I don't mean to emphasize one particular drug, but there is a drug when I had surgery a year ago was prescribed to me, which is now being advertised, but 90% of the doctors haven't even heard of it yet. And it's called Journavx. You're probably familiar with it. Non-opioid, non-addictive, and it is, for me, it was just as effective as any painkiller that I've ever had before after a surgery. It works great. Talk to your doctor about it, because instead of an opioid, that could be something that you could have. It's just that I know that it's new and it's very expensive right now, but that's a good alternative. We are out of time, unfortunately, Angelo, but give us a website really with 30 seconds left so that people can get information from you.
Sure. They can visit our website, drugfreenj.org, and that's a great resource for anything on this issue or any issues regarding substance use disorders.
All right. Fantastic to have you on. Angelo M. Valente, Executive Director of Partnership for a Drug-Free New Jersey. Very, very important organization. We thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you, Ken. Appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you. And that's it for us. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you again tomorrow.